Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. So before we dive into it, do me a favor. If you end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. We're starting here talking about the Game Awards, specifically what is eligible to be nominated for Game of the Year. This is being reported by Push Square. They say Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, or any other DLC add-on will be eligible to win Game of the Year at the Game Awards. An update to the frequently asked questions on the event's official website notes says the Game Awards aims to recognize the best creative and technical work each year, irrespective of the format of that content's release. Expansion packs, new game seasons, DLCs, remakes, and remasters are eligible in all categories if the jury deems the new creative and technical work to be worthy of a nomination. The statement goes on to underline that newness of the content and its price/value should be taken into consideration. With the ballots now closed, Polygon reports that voters were aware of these rules prior to submitting their nominations. While the language in the FAQ is new, it's unclear if the Game Awards has always had this policy. For example, last year's Cyberpunk 2077 expansion Phantom Liberty was a highly acclaimed release, although it never made the overall Game of the Year nominations. It was nominated for Best Narrative, however, so we suppose this is consistent with the above message. Nevertheless, we suspect this statement has been released now because Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree has made the cut and will be one of the Game of the Year nominations set to be announced on Monday, but we're not sure how we feel about that. Perhaps a different category for Best DLC would work better here. It's also interesting to think that in-game seasons are now also eligible for Game of the Year. This means, in theory, you could have a Fortnite season or a Honkai Star Rail patch competing against Astrobot and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Obviously, we don't think a scenario like this will occur, but it is allowed, per the rules above. The Game Awards nominations and ultimate winners are determined by a panel of media and influencers from around the world who submit their picks. The public also gets a 10% say on the final outcome across all categories. So yeah, this is something that I just wanted to let you guys know about because I think many people are going to be tuning into the Game Awards. I don't know how seriously people take them, but yeah, now we're finding out that DLC, remakes, remasters, and even seasons of a game are technically eligible to be nominated for Game of the Year. And I do think that they put this here because, yeah, Shadow of the Erdtree is likely going to be part of the Game of the Year nominations list that is going to be announced just a couple of hours from the time of this recording. So let me know what you guys think about that. Moving on to the next topic, we're talking once again about the PS5 Pro. This time, it's some bad news. So this is being reported by VGC, and it says some PlayStation 5 Pro owners have been reporting that certain games actually look worse on the console. Reports are suggesting that Silent Hill 2 and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, two games that are marked as PS5 Pro Enhanced on the PlayStation Store, actually perform worse in their enhanced versions than they did on the base PS5 console. Players on the Silent Hill 2 Reddit page have been complaining for more than a week that even though the game is apparently PS5 Pro Enhanced, it still has options for quality and performance graphics modes. It's claimed that quality mode still runs at 30 frames per second with no noticeable improvement, while performance mode now has an odd shimmering effect on some surfaces. It's been suggested that the shimmering may be a result of the PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution upscaling technology used by the PS5 Pro, and that it's working incorrectly with this particular game. One video shows the player switching to performance mode mid-game, which immediately makes the shimmering effect appear, most noticeably on puddles and trees. Star Wars Jedi Survivor appears to be another victim of PSSR, with Digital Foundry publishing a video which claims the PS5 Pro version has severe image quality problems. Showing a side-by-side video of the game running in performance mode on PS5 and PS5 Pro, Digital Foundry notes clear shimmering present in the latter. If you look at this side-by-side, you can see just how unstable the game appears now with PSSR in the performance mode, Digital Foundry's Oliver McKenzie says in the video. I would personally go as far as to say it looks dramatically worse than the old performance mode here. McKenzie notes that Jedi Survivor had numerous patches before the release of the PS5 Pro, and that it had reached a point where its performance mode was not that offensive looking. It was basically not too bad, it was okay, especially from a normal viewing distance on a large television. McKenzie suggested that the issue is almost certainly down to the way PSSR upscales the image. Like other upscaling algorithms, PSSR takes a game's existing rendered image and uses machine learning to attempt to fill in the missing details and present the game at a higher resolution. The issue with this is that if the rendered image has a low level of detail or something with an intricate non-repeating pattern which could confuse the AI upscaler, such as a road surface or foliage, the upscaled result could be different in each frame, resulting in the shimmering effect. It's not yet clear whether these issues will be patched or whether the problem has to be fixed at a game level or system level. Silent Hill 2 players on the game's Reddit page are becoming impatient at the apparent lack of acknowledgement from Konami or Sony on the issue. So yeah, this is, the other side of the coin here, where we've talked about PS5 Pro games and patches that have done a very good job and do exactly what you would expect it to do, right? You buy a PS5 Pro for $700, expecting it to improve the games quite significantly, or at least to a relatively noticeable degree on the PS5 Pro. But there are some situations here, such as what we're seeing pointed out with Jedi Survivor and Silent Hill 2, that do need to be looked at, right? Hopefully EA as well as Konami do take the time that is needed to correct this. It's worth noting that at least with Jedi Survivor, this game has kind of been a mess since the beginning. So it's maybe not that surprising that they're going to have to go back and kind of fix, the PS5 Pro version, just like they've had to fix every other version. But yeah, it does go to show that it really does come down to the developer and how they choose to implement PSSR. This is the first iteration. This is going to happen. There are going to be some growing pains with this new technology. This is the same thing that occurred with FSR, DLSS, and pretty much every other AI upscaler. You're going to have situations like this where the developers have to go back in and, kind of correct some of the problems that have presented themselves. But just be aware that if you are a PS5 Pro buyer, or if you're somebody who's thinking about buying a PS5 Pro, we are in those early days where, there's going to be some kinks that have to be ironed out. But moving on to the next topic, we have some better news, I would say, for the PS5 Pro. Being reported by WCCF Tech, among the most impressive aspects of the PS5 Pro is its ability to deliver much better performance than the base model while consuming similar power. As part of their in-depth testing of the recently released console by Sony, the tech experts at Digital Foundry tested the PS5 Pro power consumption running different games, including Elden Ring, which was not patched to take advantage of the system's unique features, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2, which did receive a PS5 Pro patch. In both games, the mid-gen refresh in quality mode consumed as much as the PS5 Slim, while delivering much better performance and image quality, although the Slim console used for the test may have had some issues as it was consuming more power than expected. Still, even compared to the base launch model, the new console's efficiency is very impressive, consuming around the same power to deliver significant improvements in both patched and unpatched games. Additionally, this is highly indicative that the two systems' SoCs were produced using different process nodes, likely 4 nanometer for the PS5 Pro. But continuing to talk about the PS5 Pro, we have more sales data regarding the console in the US. This is being reported by Push Square. They say early indications are that the PS5 Pro is finding its audience as Sony intended. This week we learned that despite costing twice as much, the PS5 Pro sold around 13,000 more units than the PS5 Pro, the PS4 Pro at the launch in Japan. And in the USA, the first data from Circana analyst Matt Piscatella is that it's keeping pace with the mid-gen predecessor. The PS5 Pro had a solid start, he wrote on Blue Sky, with units in the same ballpark as PS4 Pro's launch, but I'll break that more down in detail in a few weeks. He didn't clarify whether the PS5 Pro's launch was higher or lower than the PS4 Pro, but either way, his post implies that there's not much of a difference. It's worth remembering that the PS4 Pro launched at $399 in 2016, while the PS5 Pro is $699. You have to factor in inflation, of course, but it's still a big difference. Now, if you do factor in inflation, I believe the PS4 Pro is or would be about $100 more. So you can still see a very stark difference between the two consoles and their pricing either way. But the final topic is, I would say, more bad news here for Sony. LEGO Horizon Adventures sees the worst ever Steam launch for Sony with just 602 peak concurrent players. Being reported by Gaming Bolt, from Concord to Until Dawn to Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, there's been a string of PlayStation-published titles in recent months that have performed poorly on PC at launch, and unfortunately, another game has joined that list. LEGO Horizon Adventures launched today, and it doesn't seem to be attracting players in anything close to impressive numbers. As per SteamDB, LEGO Horizon Adventures has seen a peak of just 602 concurrent players on Steam today. For some context, that's the lowest concurrent player count for any PlayStation published game on Steam to date, below even Sackboy: A Big Adventure, which had a peak of 610 concurrent players upon its 2022 PC launch. And that was a 2-year belated port where Horizon is a completely new release. This is also the 4th lowest concurrent user peak for any LEGO game on Steam to date. So, yeah, not looking good here. I don't know what this means for the overall sales of LEGO Horizon Adventures. It is obviously releasing, or did release, I should say, on PS5 and the Switch. But yeah, it's safe to say that this game is a complete flop on PC, and it seems like Sony has really been struggling to find success on the PC side of things pretty much since Helldivers 2, which was the biggest success they've ever seen. Now, we do know Spider-Man 2 is getting ready to release on PC in January, so I would say that'll be a good test, right, to see if Sony can still find success on PC, or if maybe it's starting to fade at this point. But I just wanted to let you guys know about that. That's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.